It's Paul Marsh, and I'm delighted to say that I've been joined by Strictly Come Dancing star Amy Dowden. Amy, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Very, very good, thank you. We're going to be talking about some sensitive issues. We're going to be talking about life after breast cancer and Breast Cancer Now's vision for 2050. You have shared so much of your journey publicly. What does life after breast cancer look like for you right now in a real everyday sense?
Do you know, obviously, I'm so lucky to be back on the dance floor, and I'm so grateful to be back and, a new fit and healthy version of myself. But, the cancer, it's still with me now. Do you know what I mean? With fertility, I'm in menopause, with menopause side effects. I still go to the oncology unit once a month, for my injection. Even though your active treatment has finished, you're still in a cancer journey. You're still accepting a new upper body. And I'm on a mission now to do all I possibly can to raise awareness and to help others. And I am really backing the Breast Cancer Now campaign, which is on a mission. Nearly a million people are affected by breast cancer in the UK. And by 2050, that's, with the research they've done, seem to raise to 1.4 million. Um, and yeah, so I'm doing all I possibly can to help others, to get people checking themselves. Early detection can prevent and can save your life, sorry. So yeah, but unfortunately, once you've rang that bell after surgery or treatment, the journey doesn't finish. And I think a lot of people just think, yep, you'll bounce back, you're absolutely fine. And that, unfortunately, is
No.
the case.
I was going to say, when you say, "Oh, I'm cancer free," a lot of people sort of in their head think that that is a full stop, but it's not. It's a comma, isn't it?
It is, and there's a lot of mental side effects as well that I really didn't. Um, I guess I didn't process my everything I was going through, from the surgery to all the chemo, all the side effects, and all the changes that was happening to me, and I just kept shelving it, and then it really came and hit me after I rang the bell, and then I got callbacks after my scans, and then I ended up having another mastectomy. Yeah, unfortunately, for many people, the journey doesn't end. And I think it's that understanding and that education around it. And unfortunately, with the research breast cancer now has done as well, it's the research has shown that the most deadly disease in women, of working age women, is breast cancer.
Mm,
From
yeah.
20 to I think 60. Don't quote me on the exact age, but yeah, it's the most deadly disease. And I think that's quite scary. And I think that's why breast cancer now, and all the research they've done in this new campaign, hopefully it's going to really help and impact and change that.
Well, obviously, with what you do, you're obviously such a physical and active person. What's been the toughest part about getting back to being you?
I think that it was getting my dancing back. It was getting back to, I was always comparing myself to the old Amy. Chemo destroyed me.
Yeah.
I struggled to walk up the stairs afterwards. It weakened my bones. So now I now have bone infusions to. Um, I lost my hair with the steroids and the treatment. I gained a lot of weight. I wasn't able to dance. I broke my foot. I had blood clots. I had sepsis. And when I first went back to Strictly, I couldn't watch myself dance. I wasn't the dancer I was before, but
Yeah.
obviously I'd worked 20 years of my life to become that dancer, having time out. And then not just having time out, what my dancer went through, it was brutal. And I think actually getting myself back to my fitness and back to the dance floor, that was the hardest, afterwards. And accepting me and being, and actually learning to tap myself on the back and stop comparing myself to the old me, and then
Yes.
a new, better, stronger version of me, mentally stronger, what I've been through. It took me a long time to accept that. And I think I was also just in a mentally really low place at the time. Whereas now I'm really embracing it and I'm really proud of it. I'm
Well,
really proud of me and how far I've come.
I was going to ask you because obviously Strictly is so sparkly and
It
big
is.
smiles and that, and like you say, not only were you not the same person physically, but everything you've been through mentally. Did you struggle to step back in with those sparkles and the big smiles and everything else like that?
I really did on that first year back, not last year, but my first year back. Behind that smile was the most unconfident and sure Amy and scared Amy I think I'd ever been. But Strictly also got me through the hardest of times, having that drive and something to work towards to get back. And I hated missing out the year before doing treatment and watching all my best friends having the most amount of fun you could ever imagine. And, it's the best group you want to be part of. When you watch Strictly, you want to be in that gang. Do you know what I mean? I think the
Yeah.
whole nation would be like that. So I knew I couldn't go another year watching, but at the same time, I probably wasn't 100% ready to be part of it. But also, it was that then, me was like, no, I've got to get myself fit and I've got to get myself strong. And I did do that last year, and I went back and I felt so comfortable within me. And then I obviously had my other mastectomy. Yeah, and I think there's a different, when I go on that dance floor now, there's like an even bigger appreciation knowing how it can be taken away from you and
I
to
was I
take
was
every
literally just
second.
going to ask you the exact same thing. I was going to say, does it bring a kind of pressure or a different kind of appreciation or both?
It doesn't bring a pressure, it brings an appreciation and respect for my body and admiration for others going through it. And I hope to be able to show other people that after a cancer diagnosis, it doesn't have to define you, it doesn't have to take away what you love most in the world. You can get back. You will find a new version of you. And so take time, be kind to yourself, be proud of yourself. And I hope to anybody who then's watching Strictly, who unfortunately has been diagnosed or going through it, can see that, oh, well, Amy got back there, I can. Because if I can do it, you can.
Tell us about Breast Cancer Now's 2050 vision. What does it actually mean for anybody who's listening right now who has been affected?
They're on a mission, basically. Honestly, for me, I can remember actually. So being diagnosed, and I didn't know where to turn or the tools, and they have the tools, to go and look on the website. Honestly, breast cancer now, it's phenomenal. But new figures show that almost 1,920,000 people are living with or beyond, like me, beyond a breast cancer diagnosis in the UK. And that is projected to reach over 1.4 million by 2050. And they want, breast cancer now until we're breast cancer never. Do you know what I mean? They're on a mission. 57% of people who haven't had breast cancer are not worried about being diagnosed with breast cancer, which is crazy when, 1 in 8 or
Yeah.
are affected by cancer. So yeah, honestly, what they've done and the research they found, it's incredible. And they want it to be, that we must set the record straight and wake up the nation to the realities of breast cancer and urgently drive progress further and faster by 2050, that we're in a different position than we are now.
What do you think takes us as a nation to sort of take our head out of the sand and start preparing for these things? Because obviously doing what I do, I've done a lot of similar interviews to this, and I've done interviews about prostate cancer and various other bits and pieces. And I'm 44, so I'm literally on the cusp of that kind of age. A couple of friends of mine have prostate cancer, various different conditions. So even though I'm ever so slightly too young, I went and had those first steps, which is literally just a blood test. What is it, do you think, that is going to take us as a nation to take this seriously and go out and take those first few steps before there are any signs? Because sometimes you don't notice the signs until way down the line.
I think it's learning, you know, your own body and getting to know your own body. And as soon as you see a change or you don't feel right, go to your GP. You know your body better than anybody else. But I also you're nothing without your health. And I think a lot of people are scared. They're scared to find something. But
Yeah.
the earlier, if it was something, the earlier, the better. Do you know what I mean? Not, it's not guaranteed, but the treatments available, the surgery. And I think it's educating yourself. The information is out there, like breast cancer now, and I think it's that's important. The importance of that, and to know that there are people out there that can help you. But the most important thing is, educating yourself and educating others. And I hope to show you that yes, it might be scary, but look, I'm living proof that you can live beyond a cancer diagnosis as well.
Do you think that obviously with technology improving and AI and all of those other bits and pieces, that early detection is going to improve?
I really, really hope so. Yes, absolutely. And with everything that like breast cancer now are doing, fingers crossed. And I hope that will be the case with me with like wanting children, because obviously having breast cancer I have hormone fed cancer. So that's, had to put me into menopause. And we don't know yet, would I ever come out of menopause? Will have chemo destroyed my fertility? We don't know until we go down that route. And, the chances then of the cancer coming back, are higher with a hormone fed. And I really hope with the constant research and education and the awareness around it that, that my chances are going to be high to have a baby in the future. And that's what I mean. That like, there's so much more to a cancer diagnosis that people really don't realize. I constantly get asked, "Oh, the clock is ticking, Amy. When you can have a baby?"
Yeah.
Like, well, my clock isn't ticking because I'm in menopause because of
Yeah.
my that. So it's that continuing that conversation and breaking down this stigma and getting people talking about it. And I want a mission to try and do that.
I want to ask about your support network. A friend of mine was diagnosed around about 6 months ago, and she led a full life, always in the gym, always working out, and she felt that overnight, the only thing she spoke about was the cancer, and she really, really struggled with that. Is it something that you found, obviously, especially with everything that you've been through? Is that something you found as well?
Yeah, and I think being in a public figure, a lot of people want to talk to me about it. And that's fine, but at the same time, it can also be quite draining, and that you want a life outside. And obviously, if I do TV interviews and things like that, everybody wants to go there, maybe
Yeah.
rather than say, talk to me about what I'm doing,
Yeah.
the dancing side or things like that. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, if I can help save one life, then
Yeah.
I've turned that negative situation into a positive with me. And every day I get messages on Instagram, because of you, I'm checking myself, or because of you, I've got the GP. And that for me, then it's so rewarding. So, although sometimes it might be draining and that it really does take over. But at the same time, I'm on a mission and I want to use my profile in the best way absolutely possible.
Okay, well, let's finish on a little bit of a laugh then, if that's okay.
Go on, then. Come
I
on,
want
then.
you to give me your one word response to these former partners.
Okay.
Brian Connolly,
Funny.
Danny John Jules,
Um, Talented.
Tom Fletcher,
Brother.
JB,
Kind.
and finally Thomas Skinner.
Mad.
I love that. Well, look, if anybody is listening right now, they maybe just been diagnosed, they're going through with it. What would you say to them?
To be kind to yourself. There's so much help out there. Make sure you got your loved ones around you. And if you can't speak to them, again, there is so many people out there, your breast cancer nurses, your nurses, your oncology team. You don't have to go through this alone. Be strong, and I'm sending you all my Welsh love, but be kind to yourself.
Well, look, Amy, thank you so much for talking to me. I really, really do appreciate it. Like you say, hopefully talking today will help just one person and then we will have done our job.
Absolutely. And we're on a mission that we're breast cancer now, but we wanted to hopefully become breast cancer never.